Hi there, I'm Chris, the founder of the 24-Hour Race. In 2009, a friend and I walked 600 kilometers across England, pushing ourselves like never before for causes we cared about. The experience completely changed my life, and coming back to Hong Kong, I wanted to offer it to my peers. We ended up coming up with a really simple concept. Run 24 hours relay style in teams of 8. You can either run, you can walk. If you're not feeling like doing either, you can tag yourself out and sleep. But the idea was, regardless of your athletic ability, you could compete and push yourself like never before. When I first pitched schools, the answer was kind of like a no. Schools were struggling to get their students to go participate in mandatory cross-country. Why were they gonna let their students or try and encourage their students to give up their free weekends and run 24 hours non-stop? So instead of pitching the schools directly, I went to the students. And to the students I said, hey, why don't you guys participate? Not only can you participate, maybe join us and volunteer to help organize various aspects of the race. And they all said yes. And the event went from going nowhere to going to 9 schools with 180 runners, raising $250,000 in its first year. Thanks again to student leadership. At the time, I didn't know so much about modern slavery, but there was a teacher at my school who was supporting a particular charity in Nepal that was combating the trafficking of children from Nepal into India. These children's families were given false promises about job opportunities in India, but children were whisked away into circuses where they went through arduous and brutal training regimes. They were often physically injured, sometimes even killed in this process. At a time where it was illegal to traffic animals into a circus, it was perfectly okay to do so with kids. We didn't know about the global problem of slavery, but this felt compelling to us. So as a group of students, we came together and said, right, this is going to be our cause. This feels like motivation for any student to get through that next lap, to run that extra kilometer, to get up at 3 a.m. and do it and tag out for another mate and come into the race. That felt compelling to us. So he took this one charity, and over the course of 2 years, we were actually able to provide them enough funds that they worked with lawyers and with local police and government to set India's first law in modern history banning a human trafficking channel. And that was that channel we'd initially come across, of children from Nepal going to circuses in India. But with that done, we knew that our work wasn't complete, because in that process we could see that the problem of human trafficking was much bigger than just this one particular channel. In fact, the number at the time was 12 million modern slaves. It's now been revised to over 50 million people in modern slavery, and a problem that is mostly concentrated around Asia, but no country in the world is free from. Because of the success of our first race, we knew that we had to do another event. But I had personally gained so much experience and so many learnings by organizing the race itself that I thought it best to offer that experience to another generation of motivated directors. So at the time, I just asked anyone, hey, raise your hand if you want to be a director. There were a handful of volunteers, and that became one of the most important decisions for our charity, a movement by students, for students. Each year, a group of directors are selected. They in turn select committee members to join them in putting together their races. As the headquarters, our responsibility is to make sure races are safe, they're legal, we've got first aid on site, really the scaffolding, the bones of the race if you like, but it's the students who are putting on the flesh and the skin. It's really their work that makes the race an amazing one. And it's our job to provide them a light hand and some guidance and mentorship to get there. After our first year, the event quickly became a regional one. Students who would participate in one race would move countries and try and bring the race with them. And because we were a student-led movement, it became possible for them to organize their own races in their respective cities. So within 2 years, we were already in 3 countries, raising millions of dollars to fight human trafficking and slavery. Our races really rely on the partnerships we create with schools and however they help us. So some schools will provide venues, others will support the training and selection of their team, fundraising activities on campus. But in whatever capacity, we really want to work closely with schools and understand what their needs are and how we can help them best be successful, and their students who are participating or organizing our races be successful too. Today, the 24-hour race is in over 15 cities around the globe. We've had over 500,000 participants, and we've raised $10 million towards fighting modern-day slavery. The combination of our participants' advocacy and those funds raised have led to real results in terms of putting a ding on modern slavery. For example, the funds have gone on to directly rescue and rehabilitate 2,000 people, over 2,000 people from the clutches of slavery. They funded over 10 rescue and rehabilitation centers, mainly in Asia. They set that first law we talked about, kind of unprecedented and really incredible that a small group of students from a handful of schools were able to do that. So the money we raise and the advocacy and the awareness that we raise is making a real difference. And sure enough, we see that modern slavery, the plight of modern slavery, has become a real issue across schools wherever there are 24-hour races. And we're proud to play a small part in that as well. Our vision is that one day a year, millions of students come together wishing for the end of slavery, and at the very least, won't tolerate a world with slavery in it. Thank you very much for your support and for listening to this video, and we look forward to working with you to fight human trafficking and the plight of modern slavery globally.